Do you know people who do not allow themselves to be thrown out of balance and who always take the line of least resistance? People who are characterized by inner equanimity and who easily get out of any difficult situation with a simple solution? The psychological key to understanding these character traits can be revealed in the tradition of Jungian psychology, in the archetype of the trickster, also called the equilibrist. In this video, we introduce you to this archetype and its pathological manifestation, the passive-aggressive personality disorder, in 10 points, using examples from movies and mythology, and give tips on how successfully deal with the trickster's strengths and weaknesses. The trickster and the passive-aggressive personality disorder in 10 points. Point 1. What makes the trickster archetype tick? The main personality trait of the trickster is resilience. All of the trickster's characteristics can be derived from the personality traits or their so-called metaprograms, which in turn can be derived from the trickster's position and correspondences in the meta-model of the psyche according to Stefan Fiebig. The archetypal trickster belongs to the sanguine temperament. His focus is always directed to avoid at all costs to get thrown out of balance, and on taking the line of least resistance, so that he can achieve the best result with as little effort as possible. He looks confidently into the future and believes that he is as good as others and deserves as much happiness as others. He thinks that no one has the right to force him to do anything. Accordingly, his basic needs are independence, freedom, and autonomy. As his name suggests, the trickster also uses tricks to reach his goal. If necessary, he also plays tricks on others to get his way. He may also have a gambler's nature because he is willing to take a risk in order to make a big profit. He may even overlook the risk or play so trickily that he gains a winning advantage. Point 2. His strength. Corresponding to his main personality trait, resilience, the trickster archetype's main qualities are his imperturbability, equanimity, and adaptability. He is good at keeping his cool in times of crisis and adapting to new situations with amazing success. He is also able to quickly find new solutions for different and changing requirements again and again. Since he is not willing to do more than necessary, his solutions are often particularly creative and solution-oriented. Point 3. His weakness. Due to his high degree of imperturbability, the trickster can be prone to indifference, unreliability, and non-commitment in extreme cases. And due to his tendency to achieve everything as quickly as possible and with little effort, it is difficult for him to venture on things that can only be done with great effort. Depending on the degree of balance of his personality, his tricks can be more or less legal. Saul Goodman, the lawyer in the series Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, is a good example of a trickster who often stretches or twists the law.
Will you get out of it when you put in? That's right. Now, if you're gigging a lot...
Are you gigging a lot?
Guys, sorry to interrupt. Just want to make sure there's no wiggle room here.
We are with customers right now. Please, all right? Just go. Thank you.
Okay, well, best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Go. Goodbye. Go. Sorry about that.
Are you okay?
It was a drumstick. It was laying loose in the aisle.
Somebody call an ambulance!
No, you don't need to. I don't need... Oh, yes, an ambulance. That's a good idea. You guys have liability insurance, right?
There you go. She slows down, she hangs it right. You come shooting out of there. You do what you did to me. You go ass over tea kettle. You make it a blue ribbon special. When she gets out of the car, you're suffering St. Sebastian, right? You're the hammer. Okay, you get in her face. You scare the bejesus out of her. Give me your phone.
It's kind of busy here, don't you think?
Well, witnesses are good. Witnesses are pressure, all right? Now, once you've got her good and rattled, then you call for an ambulance. But really, you're calling for me.
Point 4. How to recognize the trickster archetype. You can recognize tricksters' personalities very well by the fact that they never or only very rarely allow themselves to be thrown out of balance or get emotionally unbalanced. They cope with almost every situation in one way or another and pull themselves out of difficulties with simple solutions and an amazing ease. Good examples of famous tricksters are Till Eulenspiegel, James Bond and MacGyver. The trickster has no great ambition. When he feels forced to do something, he quickly shows passive-aggressive behavior. He delays his work or performs poorly. It may also be that he says to have simply forgotten to do the work he has been asked for. The trickster archetype can be confused with the hermit archetype, among others, although the hermit is more objective and even more emotionally distant. In contrast to the trickster, whose pathological manifestation is the passive-aggressive personality disorder, the pathological form of the hermit is the schizoid personality disorder. Point 5. How does a trickster react in conflict situations? The defense mechanism of the trickster archetype is compensation. That means they try to compensate for their weaknesses by overemphasizing a desirable or positively valued character trait, or by distracting from the weaknesses completely. Point 6. The trickster in mythology. The trickster archetype, like all personality archetypes, is a basic pattern of human experience. We experience this archetype in many myths and fairy tales. Often magical abilities associated with the trickster archetype are considered to be those abilities that enable us to solve impossible tasks or succeed in doing something that others are unable to do. The trickster archetype is also often a culture founded in mythology. In Egyptian mythology, for example, we find Thoth, the god of magic, science and wisdom. He is the inventor of writing and language. In Arthurian and Grail mythology, we find Merlin, the great wizard of England. In Greek mythology, Hermes corresponds to the trickster archetype. Hermes is the messenger of the god, especially of Zeus, his father, as well as the guide of souls to the underworld. He is the god of travelers, merchants and thieves. He is known both for his inventions, such as the lyre, and for the tricks or pranks he plays on others, including his brother Apollo, from whom he steals cattle. The equivalent of Hermes and the trickster archetype in Roman mythology is Mercury. In Norse Germanic mythology, Loki represents the trickster archetype. Loki is the god of malice and guile. He is cunning, mendacious, and has the ability for shape-shifting. We also find the trickster archetype in modern myth. Good examples are Pippi Longstocking as well as George and Fred Weasley in Harry Potter. In Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister is a very good example of the trickster archetype. He always manages to get out of all kinds of situations. He is quick-witted, which shows his rhetorical and intellectual ability to turn any situation around and use it for himself with ease.
I am Tyrion, son of Tywin of Clan Lannister.
How would you like to die, Tyrion, son of Tywin?
In my own bed, at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my
Bronn and Jaqen H'ghar are also good examples of the trickster archetype. In Star Wars we find the equivalent of the trickster in R2-D2 as well as in Han Solo.
I have 1.723% left in my power core. I thought for sure you would have figured something out by now. You're usually so good at that sort of thing.
Point 7. The trickster and the hero's journey. In the mythological success structure of the hero's journey, the hero needs the trickster skills to successfully pass through the third stage. In this stage, the hero crosses the threshold and thus enters the adventure. Here, the hero's equanimity, adaptability, and imperturbability are important competencies for venturing into the unknown. In any project or venture we undertake, we also need the skills of the trickster. After collecting and evaluating the necessary information, we can develop a strategy and take the first step of implementation. By the way, you can learn more about this stage of the hero's journey in our video series about the hero's journey. Link in the description. Point 8. How can you recognize the passive-aggressive or negativistic personality disorder? We have already explained to you many characteristics that describe the trickster personality archetype, and so it should be possible for you to recognize it. Then again, often it is even easier to recognize the pathological manifestation, since its characteristics are usually more pronounced and have a negative effect. In ICD-10, the passive-aggressive or negativistic personality disorder is classified under F60.81. In addition to the characteristics of a specific personality disorder, F6T, which must be present for the diagnosis of a personality disorder, at least 5 of the following 7 criteria must be present for a negativistic personality disorder to be diagnosed. Point 1. Delay and procrastination in completing basic routine tasks, especially those that others want completed. Point 2. Unjustified protest against justified demands of others. Point 3. Defiance, contentiousness or belligerence when the person is asked to do something they do not want to do. Point 4. Unwarranted criticism of or contempt for authority figures. Point 5. Intentionally working slowly or poorly on disagreeable tasks. Point 6. Obstructing the efforts of others by not doing one's share of the work. Point 7. Avoiding obligations by claiming to have forgotten them. In DSM-4, the criteria were quite similar to the ICD-10 criteria. In the DSM-5, this label is not used anymore. Maybe we'll make a video about personality disorders later, perhaps in an extra channel. Simply subscribe to our channel and when the time comes, we will let you know, or subscribe to our newsletter. Please find the link in the description. Someone suffering from the passive-aggressive personality disorder is one of the typical difficult personalities. It is usually quite challenging when the boss, a colleague, the spouse or life partner, a child, or parent suffers from this personality disorder, so the question arises: how to deal with a balanced or unbalanced trickster? Point 9. Here are a few initial tips. To handle a trickster well, it is important to ensure him of enough independence and freedom. You can win the trickster over for something more easily if the effort is relatively small for him. It is easy for him and he expects something from it. Instead of impose a solution, allow him to participate in finding a solution. To deepen your knowledge of this and all other archetypes, as well as to understand their meaning in therapy and coaching, business relationships, professional and private life, you can attend our seminars on personality archetypes. Point 10. How can someone with a passive-aggressive tendency balance their personality? If a passive-aggressive person wants to balance his imbalances, or if a well-developed trickster wants to expand his competencies, or if you want to balance your inner trickster, it is a good idea to develop the complementary archetype, namely the safekeeper within yourself. Unlike the trickster, the safekeeper is very loyal and sensitive. He needs consistency and protects the tried and trusted. To learn more about the safekeeper archetype, watch the video about this archetype in our channel. Do you see yourself as a trickster? Do you know people in your environment who have these personality traits? What do you find particularly difficult in dealing with these people? Which well-known real or fictional people with these characteristics of the trickster or those corresponding to passive-aggressive or negativistic personality disorder do you know? Write us your answer and all your questions under the video. We will make a video at the end of the series in which we answer these questions. We look forward to your comments. If you haven't done already, like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to be always up to date. Thanks for watching and see you soon!